Hello everybody, welcome to the Chainsaw Channel. My name is Aaron, and today I want to talk to the new chainsaw owners, and I want to tell them some things that they should know. So, let's get right into it. So I have taken apart my chainsaw and sort of made it so it's like just out of the box, right? So you get your chainsaw just out of the box, and this is what it's going to look like. Your bar, your chain. Hopefully they've given you one of these, a little scrunch with a flat head on the end, and your chainsaw. Wonderful, the best part. So, like I said, hopefully you have a scrunch, or you could just use a socket and a socket set, a flat head, and I have a smaller scrunch here, and we will talk about this one later. I've got a brush, and this is just for cleaning. So after you've used your chainsaw, you take it apart, you clean it. So we'll talk about that later too. Alright, so for starters, once you take your saw out of the box, you know, as a man, we are superior to instruction manuals, and I want to tell you, keep your instruction manual. That's very important because you never know down the road when you're going to want to keep it. That is one thing that I want to tell you. Did you know that some chainsaws, depending on the make and the model, you can actually plug into a computer, and you can look at the hours, you can look at the make, the model, any work that's been done to it. It's literally like a computer itself. So, so one thing I would suggest is also putting premium octane, no less than 91 octane in your saw, right? Like, you do not want to put any less than 91. You know, it's just like a sports car. You know, I got this thing, and I literally felt like I bought myself another sports car. So anyway, so new chainsaw owners, right? So this is the gas symbol and the oil symbol. Obviously your gas goes in there, your bar oil goes in there. Bar oil, I use this Husqvarna X-Guard. I just got this stuff and I'm using it for the first time. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan. I would get any I can't even remember the brand of it, but it's a red bar oil, but you know, it works just fine, right? It keeps the saw in good condition. So you get your saw, let's put it together. So just be careful, your felling spikes or your dogs here will probably be quite sharp. So you're going to take the side cover off and make sure the brake is released. Take this off. You want to get your bar. I'm going to move some things out of the way. Okay, so you want to put your bar on. Get your chain. So the tooth on the chain, you want it to be facing, you want it to be going right. So each tooth here going right. Be careful, that'll be sharp too. This chain I just sharpened not too long ago, and it is just a crazy sharp chain for sure. Alright, so you want to make sure on the inside here that your chain is going around that sprocket and that it's lined up on the bar all the way, which might take a little bit of time to get a hold of. And once you got it, I find when you get it lined up on the top of the bar, you can just simply pull it tight, and then that's okay, and it's still on this sprocket, right? So you pull it tight, and now you can throw your side cover on here. And if your brake is, if this brake is clicked down, you're not that's not going to get on or get off. So you want to make sure that brake is released, right? Because this piece on the inside of the side cover tightens around here, and that keeps it from spinning. So you'll get that tightened up. Get your side cover on here. Also, I would just like to add, when you have your saw taken apart, it's wise to take a little Allen key here and tighten up anything that could be that could be loose, right? Any screws under here, you know, your brake, your handle, you want to make sure everything's tight. Alright, so let's get this bad boy thrown on. So that's on there. So when you put your chainsaw side cover on, you want to make sure, obviously, that this, I like to put a little bit of pressure on the bottom of the bar, and then I can sort of just tighten it down. And just like anything ever, you always hand tighten first. If you get a tool, if you get a socket on there and you say tightening is the wrong way, you strip your threads, you got to go buy a new side cover. You don't want to do that. And then you also might want to adjust so this little screw here, that's your bar adjustment. So we're going to make sure that is on there alright. I just like to get it tight enough, and then I get this side plate tightened up, just like a car tire. You don't do one screw all the way and then do the other. I like to go back and forth. I get one on there nice and tight, I get the other one on there nice and tight, but back and forth, back and forth. Okay. And before I tighten that up too tight, what I do is make sure your brake is released, and I hold it and I pull the bottom of my chain. I pull it down and see if there's any wiggle. So this chain is a little too tight. Actually, yeah, that chain is too tight. So we're gonna loosen the chain off first. Just turn it, go down, loosen it up, pull down on the chain. See, that loosens it up. A little bit of pressure on the back side of the bar. Chain is still spinning, but this side plate is not sitting down all the way, so I'm going to loosen this off, and then it's going to sit. See that? Now I can give these a little bit of a tighten, hand tighten, always. And before I get it too tight, just like before, see that? So as I tighten up this side cover screw, the bar adjustment, it's going to tighten up. So with this size of chain, or this size of chainsaw, you want it tight up against the bar, right? But you don't want it, I say about the top of this tooth, only coming to the top of the bar. Now there's different scenarios. If you are an arborist and you have a smaller chainsaw, like if you're an arborist and you got like one of these, right, like my little 338 that I bring in the tree with me, that's significantly smaller than the 550, this chainsaw would have a far more loose chain because it's a smaller saw, right, and it just makes it easier. It makes it easier on the saw. But this big 550 can turn this chain like nothing, even if it's tight. So we do this, we get it tight. Now you do not want to crank your side cover on there, but I'd say a good like 70 foot-pounds, nah, maybe not even 60, nothing crazy. You just want to get a good sub fit, and then pull down. And when you get your saw running, this might come, it might loosen up depending on how you put it on, right? So this leads me to my next thing on the list of what you should know as a new chainsaw owner. You should know how to break your saw in. Just like a car, you got to break it in. There's different ways that you can do such a thing, but I think the best way to do it is to fire up your saw and loosen off the brake and just set the saw down. Now you want to watch it because you don't want this saw spinning at medium speed or whatever the idle speed is. You don't want this chain spinning and somebody getting hurt, okay? So just let it sit there, let the sprocket turn the chain a little bit, let it sit for 10 minutes, right? Just let it sit there and idle, because you're breaking in the seals, you're breaking in the motor, you're breaking in everything on the saw, the carburetor, everything. And once it's sat for 10 minutes, you can rev it up a little bit for a few minutes, and then you're pretty much good to go. Except, just like a car, you know, like, if you don't break it in, it's probably still going to be okay, but it's just, it all depends on how you take care of your saws. I like to say, I take care of my saw takes care of me. I have had this saw for almost, maybe 6 or 7 months now, and I have not had one problem. I got this saw used for my uncle, and the brake handle was cracked, and all I've had to do is swap it out, and that's it. So I went over the tools, the break-in, the premium octane, out of the box, keep your instruction manual, and fuel ratio. It's always, well, it depends on what size of oil you get. So I just have these little 6-packs, or a 6-pack of Husqvarna. So if yours is a Husky, you want to get a Husqvarna oil. If it's a Still, you want to get Still oil. And this one says mix with 5 liters of gas. So I have a 5-liter jug. When I go to the gas station, I look at the liter gauge, I put 5 liters in, and I pour 1 whole Husqvarna synthetic 2-stroke oil blend bottle in, because it's 50 to 1. There's 100 milliliters in here, and there's 5 liters of gas, 50 to 1. And always clean your saw. So I should have went over this when the saw was taken apart, but after every use, clean your saw. I use this, so this is what this is for. It's just a little paintbrush. When I take the side cover off, I wipe it down. I get as much out of there as possible. I take off this top plate. So let's do this for educational purposes. So if you have a Husqvarna, it'll probably look a little like this. 1, 2, 3 clips. 1 clip, 2 clip, 3 clip. And then it pop the hood, right? Boom. So you got your top end, you got your spark plug, you have your air filter, you have your carburetor just under here, you have your gas lines, your wiring, and you really don't need to mess with it. So, but another thing for cleaning, just pop off this filter, right? And if you have an air compressor, you can take the side plate off and you can blow out this whole area. But I would not recommend blowing out this area with an air compressor, because you don't want to blow off a valve or a hose or a wire or anything. That would just be a pain, because then you're sitting there wondering why your saw isn't working. But you can blow out this side area, you can blow out the cover, you can blow out this air filter. Just, I wouldn't recommend under here. So we'll pop this bad boy. What's going on here? Hello? There we are. Okay. Get that on there. If I can remember how. Apparently there we go. Alright, and I'm trying to think of anything else that you should know as a new chainsaw owner. No, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of people that buy chainsaws that don't know, that haven't taken like a course, or haven't spent time with an arborist. I spent a good chunk of time with almost a whole season with a certified arborist, and I learned a lot, and I had a great time working. So I'm pretty knowledgeable with this stuff. But some people buy saws and they just sort of go and use them, which is, I mean, it's totally fine. Obviously, wear your protective equipment, your personal protective equipment. You know, chainsaws. I don't think people realize how dangerous a chainsaw really can be, and even more so dropping trees. You know, felling trees, just doing tree work. Like it's not a joke, and you should always use extreme caution when using a chainsaw. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna do a video on how to do some chain maintenance, sharpening your well, I might as well tell you since I'm here, so you should know that this is a tooth. This is a tooth, and this front piece is a raker or a depth gauge. So this front piece controls how big of a chip this tooth is going to make. The chip hits the wood first, and the the depth gauge or the raker hits the wood first, and then the tooth pulls out the chip, and then over thousands and thousands of rotations per minute or second even, it cuts. And so I'm going to do a video on how you can maintain your bar over time and how you can maintain your chain. So that'll be separately, and then I will even do a video on chainsaw safety. So tune in for that. Continue to watch for other great videos, and I got a lot of great stuff coming out. Anyway, so stay tuned for more videos. Thank you for watching, and feel free to like and subscribe and share. Anyway, have a great day. Peace out.